So today we're going to be talking about, in my own opinion, the best characters in Bronze, Silver, Gold, Platinum, really just god tier heroes in these elos that are overall quite hard to counter and that overall work really well. Now, I feel like the one thing you might want to just keep in mind while looking at this list is that a lot of these characters have a very low skill floor. You can get into them without having to put in way too much time or effort, and often the majority of players here can play these guys, do pretty well as them, and carry as them. Now, if you have your own opinion on who you feel like are some of the best characters in these elos, please do leave them down in the comment section down below, and maybe tell me some of your best stories about how you've carried with them. Anyways, with all that said, let's get started. So, Junkrat this season isn't a character that's just good in low elo. He's good in every elo, but I feel like in particular, when you're in gold, silver, bronze, and platinum, he's even better because the majority of the players don't really know how to counterplay him against him that well. Now, even when you look at this character, even in higher ranks, he's super hard to counter. It's hard to go around his damage, to not get picked, and to just know where to go and when to be there. But when you go lower and lower, less people kind of know how to deal with him. Less people can really out-damage him, less people can out-aim him, and the majority of the time, the only way that people get to deal with you as Junkrat is by going Far Mercy, which in some maps you can still do half decently against. I feel like the thing that's so good about Junkrat is that he has so much somewhat consistent damage, so much burst damage, a really good ultimate right now, and he can often carry a team fight by himself. If you can get some nice AoE shots on the entire enemy team, or just maybe 2 or 3 of them, get a few picks in that fight, and go on from there, you're probably going to win it. I feel like he can just win you a lot of games, and while he can be countered in some situations, he's just a super strong pick right now. Now, for Orisa, I feel like a lot of people might be wondering, why not Reinhardt? They're both kind of similar. They're both anchor tanks. They both take in a lot of damage. They both let the people behind them deal a lot of damage quite safely. But I feel like Orisa often can do a little bit better in this elo than Reinhardt. Mainly because you don't have to worry so much about killing yourself with a charge. You don't have to worry yourself about, putting down your shield and maybe letting the people behind you die. You don't have to worry about missing one of those really key, crucial Reinhardt ults. You don't have to worry about really any of that. When you go in Orisa, you put down that shield, you start throwing out damage, maybe you go for an ult to boost your own team's damage, you try to pull people together, and that's pretty much it. It's quite easy, it's quite effective, and it does serve a very similar purpose to Reinhardt. While in some cases I don't feel like you can maybe have as high of an impact, I feel like overall you're very consistent, you can help win a lot of games, and if you can get people to actually stand behind you and, have people actually get protected by you, you can beat a lot of different team comps, and you can especially outpoke a lot of team comps with an Orisa, especially with the new buff on her E, or I guess her shield. She can do quite a bit and might be a good pick for you if you want to learn to tank in a lower elo. Now, Torbjorn has been getting better and better every single season. We've been seeing more of him. Maybe not quite as much this season because Pharah and Junkrat are in it, which both do pretty well against him. But as far as stats and win rates and everything like that, Torb has always been quite good. He's actually always had some of the highest win rates. The only problem about Torb is that when you get more and more rank and when more people kind of get better at the game, a lot of people know how to counteract his kit. But once you're, a little bit lower in silver or gold or bronze, you can often just set up on defense, get ready, heal up your turret, deal out a ton of damage, and win a ton of team fights with your ultimate by yourself. Torb can just do a lot, and overall, while he is a pretty easy character to counter, if you don't know how to counter him, like a lot of players in this elo don't really know how to do, you can win a lot of games, you can carry a lot of damage. Now this can especially work if you are going the support Torb, if you're taking the support slot, and maybe if you're going Torb Symmetra as 2 half support, half damaging type characters. It makes so that while you do have that healing with another support, you can also deal a ton more damage yourself and help win a ton of teamfights yourself. One thing that a lot of people don't really realize about Torb is that you can often get a lot of picks just by 2-shotting people with your primary fire, or you can 3-shot the majority of the tanks with your alternate fire if you get headshots. So do just keep in mind how much damage you have, and that you do have a lot of potential down here when people just don't really know what to do against you, and that's generally what happens a lot, which makes a lot of these characters god tier. And as well, he's not way too hard to play, which does add to that as well. And the final person that has been very good this season, that everybody knows is strong, and that I feel like is the best god tier hero by far in pretty much every rank, but especially these ranks, is Mercy. Now, I feel like Mercy is just the best support in the game right now, by far. And in high rank, there are some problems with her. She can sometimes get picked by really good DPS, by really good Widows and really good McCrees, and sometimes get dived, and that can sometimes kill her. And there you go. But when you get to lower elos, that doesn't really happen way too much. You don't really have these god tier DPS players that are getting headshots every single second, and you don't really get way too great of dives. And those are the real big things that kind of counter her. And even in high elo, that doesn't counter her way too much. So when you kind of transition that a little bit lower into the elo spectrum, yeah, you could see how maybe this character can be a little bit busted. I feel like in general, if you're going into a game and you have a Mercy and the enemy team does not have a Mercy right now, there is a vast chance that you are going to win that game. Like, an immense chance. The reason for this is that you supply, of course, consistent healing, consistent damage boost and everything. But mainly, you make every single team fight into essentially a 7 versus 6. Because if one of your teammates gets picked, you can res them straight back up. That in itself is ridiculous. That in itself makes so that you don't really have to do way too much as her. You don't really have to think way too much. You just get that, go in from there, and win. This can be, rezzing another support that maybe gets picked pretty early on. This could be rezzing maybe the Winston that's right in the enemy backline, or rezzing one of the DPS. Anyone that works the best at that time, you res them, you go in, and you win the team fight. And that's really all you have to know with that. It works in most elos, but down here especially, it works even better. Especially because a lot of the times, in super high elos, sometimes like grandmaster, you fly in with your res, and then you die as you're trying to fly in to res your teammate, or as you're flying away. But a lot of the times, that's not really going to happen to you right here. So, yeah, that's pretty nice. One of the final things, of course, we also do have to mention, though, is why I feel like she's so good in these elos, is that she's not very hard to play at all. You don't have to really learn how to aim. You can just generally position pretty far back as you possibly can, and stay safe. Or, if there's a flanker, stay right next to like a soldier or McCree, and you'll be safe. And that's kind of it. You do have to prioritize your healing, be it, another healer, a tank, or DPS. But other than that, I feel like it's a pretty easy thing to go for. And as long as you just don't get picked over and over again, yeah, I think she's probably the best god tier hero to help yourself climb up the ranks, at least for right now. But anyways, as always, this had just been my own opinion and who I personally feel like are some of the best heroes right now. I feel like D.Va also in these ranks can be very strong, but might be a little bit harder to play. And Symmetra can also work, but generally does a bit better the higher elo you get. Anyways, with that said, I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you want to see any more videos like this in the future. And tell me if you feel like a certain hero I did miss and that I should have talked about, and that you've been really climbing with a lot, as I do want to hear that. Anyways, as always, guys, thank you all for watching, and as always, have a wonderful day. I'd like to thank Gilded.gg for sponsoring this video, and mainly helping me a lot through the adpocalypse. So, Gilded itself is a website focused on finding, founding, and expanding your gaming team with relative ease. You can schedule events, recruit new members, build team comps, and find teams to scrim with and to scrim against. Best of all to you guys, it's free. You can get started yourself with the link in the description below, and if you sign up by November 10th, you'll be entered into a chance to win a $50 Blizzard gift card. So maybe I'll see you there.